I know you know where they are, so tell me, before I do some damage you won't walk away from.
Do it right. Sometimes you do it wrong and you prove them right. But through whose eyes you was wrong when you lose a life? Sometimes you lose it all. It's like you threw the dice and realize that you was off. Listen, do it right. Sometimes you do it wrong and you prove them right. But through whose eyes you was wrong when you lose a life? Sometimes you lose it all. It's like you threw the dice and realize that you was off. Longevity in life, people. That's the goal. Stay the course. You are now tuned in to the Evolved Energy Podcast. This is where we push positivity through strength and evolution. I am your host, Twyce. Hope all is well, and we are riding on high vibrations today. This episode, we're not just talking about working out. We're breaking down how to train the right way. You got two different types of people in the gym. People that have been training for years who stay the same, and people who evolve over time. It comes down to how they train, not just how often they train. Let's get into it. Before we even get into exercises and movements, I want to talk to you about stretching and preparing the body. See, most people, they walk into the gym and they go straight to the weights. There's no preparation, there's no activation, no awareness of how their body's moving, how their body's feeling. That's a big mistake because you can get injured that way. The reason why when we jump in the car in the winter in the morning and give a slight delay, a little pause, because we want the oil to heat up so it can flow fluently through the system and protect the pistons, certain things like that. If you just jump in and drive right away, you give the oil no time to heat up. So that way, it puts all the other parts of the engine in jeopardy. So your body, same way. If you just don't stretch and you go into vigorous training or hard exercises, your joints aren't warm. Your body, your muscles aren't primed. And this can cause real serious injury because you think you're pushing like it's a regular day, but you're not warmed up. So when you're not warmed up, injuries can happen. Your joints are too stiff. So just take your time, warm up a little bit. And what this does, it increases blood flow to the muscles. It improves that joint mobility. It allows you to move through a full range of motion safely. So you have to do this. I know most of us, I used to not stretch before and just jump into it. But when I did some research and started stretching before, my body felt a lot better, like it was ready for battle. This is a key component of exercising, so please do not skip stretching. Certain things you need are leg swings, arm circles, body weight squats, lunges. Those get your body ready to perform. And it's not only before you work out, definitely after you work out. This is called the cool down phase of the workout. And during the cool down phase, you need static stretching. Now, static stretching is when you hold a group of muscles for a certain period of time. That way, you're able to stretch and let the blood flow through that muscle completely. Certain examples of static stretching after the workout you need are hamstring holds, quad stretches, and chest and shoulder stretches. This helps recovery and flexibility. So it's not an option to stretch after the workout. It's mandatory because this primes your body for the next workout. If you choose not to stretch, yeah, you can get away with it, but in the long term, it's going to be detrimental. And in the long run, you will get injured. So I'll say it like this. If you don't prepare your body, you're not training. You're risking injury. Those are the facts. Now let's talk about full range of motion, real muscle building. I want to talk about reps. See, most people, they go to the gym, they're chasing that heavy weight, more plates, bigger numbers. But what they're sacrificing is the range of motion, controlling the weight, time under tension. All those factors contribute to you building the complete body. Now, don't get me wrong. Half reps can work in a burnout phase, meaning if you want to hit some half reps at the end of your set to pump more blood into that muscle, that's completely fine. But you can't build a solid foundation off half reps. Let me explain why. What a full rep actually means, it means controlled eccentric, the lowering phase of the exercise. It means a full stretch at the bottom and a strong contraction at the top. For example, if you're bench pressing, that bar should go all the way down to the chest, no bouncing. And you also want to control that negative part of the exercise. That's the eccentric part. Because once you do that, you actually grow more, because the eccentric part of the exercise is more important than pushing the weight up. Once you can control the lowering phase of the exercise, you gain more strength, which leads to more muscle fiber recruitment. And that's what we need to grow. And if you're a beginner, I highly recommend full range of motion. You don't want to start off by adding half reps into your routine. You want to start off with full range of motion. That way you start the race off right. If you start off with a false start, what happens? The gun blows and you get disqualified. But in this case, you start with half reps, so you never know your full potential because you weren't concentrating on full range of motion. So just start off the right way. Bottom line, no shortcuts. Don't concentrate on the next rep and the next number. Concentrate on that rep that you're doing at the present moment. And once you do that, then move on to the next rep, full range of motion. Bottom line, full range of motion leads to greater muscle activation and hypertrophy compared to the half reps where you get half stimulation. Message: half reps build half results, full reps build full development. Train the proper way and get the most out of your exercises. There's also another important factor that leads to greater muscle development. And this kind of separates the average lifters from the advanced ones. And that's the mind-muscle connection. What that is when you're completing a rep, you're actually putting your mind in that muscle and you're feeling it contract. That way, your mind and your muscle are working as one. You're not just moving the weight, you're actually controlling the muscle. And what this looks like is slowing down the movement. Focus on the target muscle, squeezing at the peak contraction, and controlling the negative. Those four factors, for a fact, will lead to greater muscle development. Like I said, the advanced gym goers, they know this. And every single time they begin to work out, before they even start the rep, start the push, they create that mind-muscle connection. And then it's time to work. And like I said before, when you focus on the muscle, you recruit more muscle fibers. You build that control, and you improve your results. You have to do this. This will separate you from the rest. Don't just lift the weight. Make the muscle do the work. How many times do you go into the gym and you see Marcy or Carl doing the same exercises day in and day out? They've been doing this for months. And you're noticing that nothing's changing in their body. How about yourself? Ask yourself how often you switch up your routine. How often are you changing? This means the routine has to change up if you're not seeing any change. Most of us get stuck in the comfort zone. And the comfort zone can be many things. The comfort zone I'm talking about right now is just doing the same thing over and over again. And that's because you're used to it. You're used to that certain type of pump. You're used to that certain type of movement. But what you want to do is get unused to it. So you have to switch it up. And that will make your body respond differently. Because if you don't, you do the same exercise routine for months, you'll notice that your pump isn't as great as it used to be. That's because your body has adapted to it. And it's going to be in your power to switch that up. But it's so normal and easy just to go in there and do the same thing over and over again because you actually feel like you're doing something because you are still pumped up. But to maximize that pump, you got to venture into these foreign waters and go do something totally different to shock that body. This is the key. 6 to 8 weeks, switch it up. You have to do that. You do not want to get used to that workout. You want to feel like you're working hard and putting in work 100% every single time. Once it starts to feel easy, it's time to push yourself and switch things up. Certain ways to switch up your routine: exercise selection. Start doing different exercises that you have never done before. Your rep ranges. If you're used to doing 6 to 8 heavy, let's go 12 to 15 a little bit lighter. How about your tempo? You're usually at a regular tempo pushing the weight. Let's slow it up. Or let's speed it up for a burnout. Another one can be intensity. Go harder than you usually go. Or if you're going hard all the time, let's go and transition to a slow, controlled movement and feel every rep. There's ways to switch this thing up. I got an example. If you switch from a barbell to a dumbbell, that's huge. One reason I love dumbbells, because it doesn't restrict your range of motion. If you're doing a bench press with a straight bar, that's a fixed position that your arms are in. You know, that bar doesn't move. But when you have those dumbbells, you can move them in a certain way that you feel comfortable. There's no way to move that bar. It's straight across. So you're pushing up, straight down. There's no movement. Now, to each his own. But I don't bench press any longer simply because I felt there was a little tweak in my shoulder after a while me bench pressing, and I can't risk injury just for an exercise. So I switched the exercise up. So now I do dumbbells only when it comes to my chest presses, which is totally fine. I love dumbbells. Like I said, no restricted range of motion. You can also switch up your incline angles. That creates different stimulation. Also, you can adjust your rest times. Usually it's minute and a half, 2 minutes max if you went hard that set. But I would, if I'm waiting 2 minutes, I would lower my rest time to increase my intensity. There's many different ways you can change your workout up. Another thing, don't change up everything right away, just randomly, just start changing things. You got to keep the structure. There's science to this. So do some research and see what you should change. What exercise go with what exercise. Change the stimulus. But you got to be very strategic on what exercise you switch to. All in all, it all has to benefit us. If your body knows what's coming, it has no reason to grow. Food for thought. Now I want to touch on the importance of both weights and calisthenics. Some people choose one or the other, but actually you need both. See, weights, they give you that overload, that muscle size, that strength. But the calisthenics, they give you the control, the stability, the coordination, that real world strength. To be honest, I like calisthenics way more than I like weights, but I work them both the same. Like, I don't choose calisthenics over weights. I give them both equal time. Examples: my favorite exercise in the whole wide world is pull-ups. That's the back, it's control. Push-ups as well. That's the chest, that's the endurance. The dips I used to do a lot more, but because of my little shoulder tweak, I eased up on them. But yeah, dips are triceps and that stability. You need that. So I've said this in a previous episode, but I want to reiterate. You got the big guy, the big heavy power lifter that can't really do a lot of pull-ups or push-ups at that, but he can push a ton of weight, you know? Then you got the calisthenic guy that can't really push a whole bunch of heavy weight, but he goes sick on the pull-ups and push-ups and dips and whatever. He can get busy on those calisthenics. Me, I like to have the best of both worlds because you can't go wrong with both of them. Weights build the muscle. Calisthenics teach you how to use it. Let me repeat that. Weights build the muscle. Calisthenics teach you how to use it. So don't you be afraid of that pull-up bar. Don't you be afraid of that ground. You get down there and do some push-ups. And you calisthenics people, don't be afraid to push some heavy weight because that'll give you that size you need on top of that great physique you have from doing all those calisthenics. Best of both worlds. Another issue that I have in the gym, when I see people do cardio before they weight train, that's a major mistake. They do cardio first before they lift. See, what happens when you do that? Your energy is depleted, your strength drops, your focus drops, and your performance suffers because you just did a bunch of cardio and you pushed yourself. So now you go to lift some weights, but it's hard because your strength output decreases when glycogen levels are depleted before lifting. So it's kind of hard to get a great workout in because you're tired. Why don't you try this? Switch it up a little bit. Warm up first, weight train, then get your cardio in. See how you feel after that. If you're tired before you lift, you're not training at your best. Period. So the last thing I want to touch on is training with intention. This ties everything together. Every rep should have purpose, control, and awareness. You need to know where you're going, what your goal is, why you're doing it. I want you to ask yourself, am I feeling the muscle? Am I controlling the weight? Am I improving? That's the bottom line. If you're not improving, you need to improve your weightlifting habits, or rather your exercise habits. Get technical with it. That way you can get the full development you want. Training isn't about doing more. It's about doing it better. Never forget that. Quality over quantity. So we made it to the weekly challenge. This week, I want you to do a few things, not for me, but for yourself. Stretch properly. Slow your reps up. I want you to feel every contraction. I also want you to stop chasing numbers and heavy weight. And last thing, train with intention. Remember this, the gym is not just a place to move weight. It's a place to build discipline, control, and longevity. And with that being said, fuel your body, focus your mind, evolve your life, and may your health be balanced and your spirit be high. And remember, nothing changes if you don't change it. This is the Evolved Energy Podcast. Peace and power.